now in front. Both of those jammers picking 4 points up on that one. Jane Deere blockers trying to grab a little bit of offense, knocking Rogue Rash to the outside. Little Swift tries to follow that inside line. Gets about halfway in there, able to grab 2 points. Looks like Rogue Rash was able to grab the same when that one was called off, so that's going to bring the Living Dead up to 15. Jane Deere's 15 as well. I've whipped now for the Jane Deeres. Going to go up against Stella, our sniper. Stella looking for that line, trying to get through, stuck up against that green tripod where Iva Whip up now to about the pivot line. Stuck up against the Evil Living Dead's wall. Both jammers knocked out of bounds, forced to reset, but that is Iva Whip able to get through first. Iva Whip finds that outside line and takes it, but gets stuck up against the Living Dead tripod. So that gives her the chance to get through, grabs 4 points. Now she is going to be without her pivot as Chris Myas is now sitting in the penalty box. And it looks like we've had a star pass now, as that is Charlie Horse now going to be carrying that star for the Living Dead. Charlie Horse makes quick work of that first pass with the star, able to grab 4 points. As Iva Whip goes through, grabs another 4. Charlie Horse goes through there, takes that inside line, tried to get chased down by Chris Myas, who was able to not quite catch her in time, and she was able to grab the 4. This time, however, she did catch her coming around that 4th corner. And Iva Whip calls that one off as she puts her hands to her hips. That's going to give the Jane Deeres down now to 23 minutes, 45 seconds left. Jane Deere's 13 points on that jam brings them to 28. The Living Dead's 11 on that jam brings them to 26. Little Swift lined up once again, this time going up against Wednesday Adams. Wednesday Adams with some toe stopper work there. However, not quite fast enough. It looks like Little Swift was able to get through first, take that lead jam. And that pack using a little bit of speed now as they come to that 3rd corner. Little Swift takes the inside lane, gets knocked around a little bit. As they go down, they call that jam off. Looks like the Jane Deeres were able to pick up 1 on that one before the whistles went. And 2 picked up for Little Swift. That's a correction. 3 points picked up for Little Swift in that one. Stella, our sniper, jamming now for the Living Dead. And they're going to get that bust out of the pack first. And jamming for the Jane Deere's Masquerade. As Stella, our sniper, gets into that pack, she's going to try and break through. And we do have a star pass. Masquerade has traded that off to her pivot. That's number 99, Brass Monkey, now going to be jamming for the Jane Deeres. As Brass Monkey comes into that 3rd corner, tries that inside lane, kind of gets hung up there. So we're going to try and reset this one. And while that's happening, Stella is able to jump in there, grabs a point when she calls that off. Brass Monkey was able to grab 2 on that one. Gonna have Rogrash now going up against Little Swift. Blockers all starting on that jam line. Little Swift goes in fast. Caught up against that tripod. Gonna try and bust their way through. Getting held up. Ooh, little bit of a pop-up hit there as some bodies hit the floor going into that second turn. And Little Swift's able to use that speed and a little bit of aggression to get through Grab's lead jam. But of Jane Deere's Rogrash able to get out as well. And Pack using a little bit of speed as they try and distance themselves from those jammers. Little Swift's going to try and find that inside line. Gets hung up a little bit. Knocked to the inside, forced to reset, getting dragged back. And it looks like the drag back was effective for the Jane Deeres as Little Swift is going to go sit down in the penalty box. That's going to give Rogrash 30 seconds now as a power jam. Try and rack up a couple points. Rogrash goes in first, gets her team to come in on that inside line, try and give her that opening. Forced to reset though, but there was a clockwise block violation issued, so the Living Dead are going to lose one of their blockers. And that's going to make it a little easier as Rogrash makes it through for that 5-point pickup. As Rogrash comes up there, Chris Maya starts trying to bust that pack around a little bit. And a low block now issued to Charlie Horse. So able to pick up another 5 points is Rogrash. Now Little Swift back on the track now, trying to get a little bit of a swing momentum from their teammate. Rogrash gets run into and knocks over that blocker. So Little Swift on that first pass after the penalty, able to grab 4 points. And Rogrash grabbed 4 as well. An effective jam for the Jane Deere's Rogrash as they were able to rack up 19 points on that one. And the Living Dead's 4 on that one. That's going to bring the scores now with 19 minutes left. Jane Deere's 50, Living Dead 39. Iva Whip and Stella R. Sniper now. A little bit of a hesitant start here, and then they both kind of explode off that line. Iva Whip is knocked out and getting dragged back by a few of the black jammers, or blockers, correction. Iva's working hard trying to get through there, getting a little hung up. Coming into that second corner as we have bodies start tumbling to the floor there. And the whistle blows, we have a lead jammer. That is going to be the Living Dead, Stella R. Sniper. But we do have a forearm being issued now to Iva Whip, so that's going to give Stella R. Sniper the chance now to try and rack up some points. They're going to get the power jam situation now. Stella goes in fast, tries to take that outside line, but they are forced out of bounds. And Charlie Horse issued a cut track penalty. So Stella able to pick up 5 points on that one, so she's going to come right now into Nitmare. Lurch goes down in the process. Down goes Stella R. Sniper, who calls that one off. So now with that jam being called off there, that's going to give the Living Dead 10 more points picked up on that one. And it's also going to give Little Swift the opportunity now to start with a power start. Both teams a little short-staffed here as the Jane Deeres have all of their blockers on the field, but missing their jammer, and the Living Dead only have 2 blockers, but they've got their jammer. Little Swift right into the back of number 1-1, Mamer. Iva Whip now back on the track, getting chased down by Magic Wanda. Iva Whip knocked to the outside, forced to reset. Cut track penalty issued to one of the Living Dead blockers. And Iva Whip is is able to get through there for that lead jammer. However, she is losing blockers left, right, and center as another one is going to go to the penalty box. Little Swift worked that inside line. Almost got caught up on Mamer there, but was able to get through. Charlie Horse now going to go one-on-one with Iva Whip. The whistles blow. 3 more points picked up for both jammers on that last pass. So with that now, we're 15 minutes, 45 seconds left, and we are real close game. 1 point difference. Jane Deere is now in the lead, 53. Living Dead, 52. And of course, it's being fairly close to noon. That means we're going to get hungry. And we'd like to thank Buffalo Wild Wings for supplying us with some food today. They're your all-ages sports bar. So make sure you check them out. Tell them Team D, and you can help support Junior Roller Derby. Back on the track now where they're still going long before they're going to get lunch. That's Lemon jamming for the Living Dead. Lemon was able to get through and grab that initial pass, gave her lead jam, so she got through, grabbed 4 more points before the Jane Deere's Masquerade was able to grab any. Looks like we're going to take a time out to the Jane Deeres. And of course, now that it is afternoon, we do want to bring your attention over to the Peterson Contracting Beer Garden. I hear they got lots of good choices over there. So if you're getting a little thirsty, make sure you go check it out. Peterson Contracting, of course, is a multi-trade company. See them for all your electrical, plumbing, gas, and HVAC needs. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/Peterson Contracting, as well as Nerd Roller Skates, your specialist for all things roller skates and roller derby. Skate fittings, wheels, hardware, protective gear, and more. Open 6 days a week in Calgary and online at nerdskates.com for people who roll.
Looks like I walked in here on the closest game this weekend.
You bet. It's been a very close one as the Living Dead up 56, Jane Deere's 53.
At the quarter mark. Wow, nice. Nice to see these two teams so close. Nice and early in the game.
Lots of energy already, too, as they've been some fairly good hits coming into that second corner. We've seen a few bodies go tumbling around. So here we go. Wednesday Adams now jamming for the Jane Deere. And that looks like Stella R. Sniper jamming for the Living Dead, who's going to take that lead jam. But it looks like we had a star pass now, as Chris Maas is going to be going out there now with the star for the Jane Deeres. Stella coming around that third corner, trying to get through there as Chris Maas is able to get past her. That's going to grab 4 points for Chris as that green tripod is going to hold Stella back.
Nice work by Knitmare, Jigsaw, and Punchkin, keeping Stella at bay temporarily, allowing Chris Maas to rack up some points around the track there. Taking the jam line, we've got Lil Swift and Rogue Rash for Eville and CRDA respectively. Empty penalty box means we're going to have a full 5-on-5 getting into this next jam. Both jammers with a burst of energy. Rogue Rash getting forced to the inside, being drawn back by Lemon and the Eville blocking squad.
Lil Swift stuck up by that pivot line. Those Jane Deere blockers have been showing how effective they are today.
Lead jam over to CRDA's Jane Deere. Rogue Rash leading the charge now.
Little Swift still trying to get through there, but knocked over. Looks like they're going to get dragged back on the outside now all the way to the turns. That's going to be Mamer dragging her back. Up here in the third corner where I'm too busy looking back at the first corner. Rogrash is able to grab 5 more points.
Off to the penalty box, Eville's number 6-1, Spitany.
Rogrash going in there a little bit heavy. He's able to knock over a body as she makes her way through, grabs another 5 points. 4 points.
Luscious Lynn not happy with the call, off to the penalty box as well, as is Lesh Luthor. Out there right now, Rogrash with only 1 blocker on her side. Sonia Blade.
Living Dead not making it easy for Rogrash as she's stuck up there in that second corner. However, Little Swift is able to slice through there, grabs 5 points.
An additional 4 points to the Jane Deere to finish off Jam 11. Total score in that one, Jane Deere got 13, Living Dead with 9. Score is now within 1 point as the Jane Deere pulled to 70, Living Dead at 69. 11 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the first.
That last jam there, I saw 3 of them. I couldn't quite catch the third number, but I know Magic Wanda and Spitney were out there, and they were making it miserable for Rogrash to try and get through.
Taking the jam line this time around, Chris Mayas donning the star up against Stella R. Sniper for the Living Dead. Chris Mayas out first, lead jam, Jane Deere.
Jane Deere's did start this one again short. Even being down 1 block of the Jane Deere, doing a good job at holding Stella R. Sniper back, as now Chris Mayas is able to grow 5 points on that pass. But just like that, couple penalties as both teams now losing a blocker, although the Living Dead are losing their pivot.
Carly Horse will spend some time in the penalty box for Living Dead.
So Stella is able to get through for the initial pass. Chris Mayas is able to grab another 4. And she does lose another blocker, though, as 1 more of the Jane Deere are going to go take a seat.
Effective use of running the clock there by Chris Mayas. Rack up the points, watch the other jammer approach the pack, call it off before they can get any points. Jane Deere now with leading by 11 at 79, Living Dead at 68. 12 jams in, and we enter the final 10 minutes of the first half.
Little Swift now jamming again for the Living Dead. Gonna go up against Masquerade. And Little Swift makes quick work of that one as they're able to take that lead jam. And we got a couple of whistles blown, but I think it might have been for the same thing. We have a legal positioning, so Jane Deere lose 1 somewhere in the process. Living Dead have lost 1 as well. Both jammers go slamming into the pack there. Little Swift kind of hit hard into the pivot for the Jane Deere. That was a Lush Luther that Little Swift went running into hard. Lush barely even moved there.
Big 9-point jam for Living Dead, bringing them now within 9 points of the Jane Deere, who added 3 to their score. 13 jams complete, 8 minutes 40 remaining. Iva Whip taking the jam line this time around up against Lemon.
Lemon and Iva Whip trade places off the jam line as Lemon tries to take the outside. Iva ended up going towards the center. Both jammers getting tied up here as the blockers are doing excellent job, but Iva Whip's able to use some good footwork and take that break. As Chris Mayas goes in and lays out one of the Living Dead blockers. Looks like we have a star pass now. Lemon is giving it up to Stella R. Sniper. As Iva Whip calls that one off after grabbing 4 more points.
14 jams complete here in the first half. Jane Deere retaining the lead at 86. Living Dead only trailing by 13. 7 minutes 40 remaining in the first half. Quickly up to the line, we've got Wednesday Adams and 96 Lil Swift on the Living Dead side, taking the jam line. It'll be a 4-on-3 pack advantage for Living Dead coming out of the gates. A bit of a false start there, it appears. And we've got a unofficial timeout, perhaps.
Looks like a timeout being charged.
Team timeout, but I don't see for who.
I think he's pointing at the Living Dead. I think. He's pointing straight to his left side.
All right, so team timeout called by Living Dead. Opportunity here for the teams to chat temporarily. Folks, if you haven't been over to the vendors here at the Acadia Rec Center, we've got Chantel Abers, who's got unique leggings to match your style. Mount Royal University is on site today providing massages. Whether you need a relaxation massage or have a condition that requires a therapeutic treatment, our students are trained to the highest standards nationally and can meet your needs. Also want to thank Young Living. Make sure you head on over and check out the essential oils and oil blends that can take you on a sensory journey that instantly soothe and enliven both the mind and body.
And again, as I'd like to point out, Buffalo Wild Wings, of course, providing us with some of our excellent food today, so big thank you to them. Back at the action now, Chris Myass going up against Little Swift. Chris Myass running into a lot of backs there, but she's able to take him and bounce around him, gets out for that lead. Little Swift isn't going to be far behind.
With a hop over the apex by Chris Myass, a nice 4-point pass there, giving the hit it and quit it for Jane Deere now at 90. Final 7 minutes of play in the first half, 15 jams complete. Living Dead holding at 73. It
was nice to see Chris Myass there as she came into that second corner, giving her teammates a little bit of strategic opportunity trying to set a play up, and obviously it was effective as she was able to grab those points before Little Swift was able to get in there and grab any of her own.
Yeah, you can definitely see that the teams are playing for little ones, in this case not racking up the points. I think it's probably easier for them to get the points, call it off, and reset.
It's been effective thus far as Wednesday Adams now jamming for the Jane Deere. He's going to get out in front, and it looks like we do have a cut track being issued to the Living Dead Stella R Sniper, so that's going to give Wednesday Adams a chance to try and rack him up a little bit now without having that opposing jammer. She's going to make quick work of that as she grabs 5. She is going to be short one of her blockers now, as that is number 6. 6? I must be missing a number.
Wednesday Adams with a pass on the inside of turn 4. 5 points. Power jam continues. The Jane Deere. Living Dead lining up at the back, awaiting the return of both jammers as Sniper returns to the track now. Wednesday Adams getting a nice knock from Lemon into the infield just after the jam line, having to reposition back. Only a temporary setback for your Jane Deere jammer. Again to the inside.
And that was number 5 I was looking at, Nitmare, that was given a penalty. She came back to the track very briefly as she was issued another one.
That's Nitmare. What's this It is Nitmare? Okay.
Under 5 minutes now, the Jane Deere is able to use that one to grab 12 points. That's going to take their lead to 102. Living Dead now 73. Rogue Rash, Little Swift lining up once again. Something we saw a lot on the last game, that those blockers all going to start right on that jam line, not giving anybody a whole lot of room here.
Jane Deere with the rear defense here, keeping Lil Swift slowed right down to a crawl. Rogue Rash fighting up at the pivot line. Same type of triad defense by the Living Dead. On the first casualty in the fray, Living Dead's blocker number 64 will head to the penalty box. Attica Flinch.
While all that was happening, the Jane Deere are able to pull out ahead. Going to give Rogue Rash that lead jam. You can see as the Jane Deere set up ahead, try and stop that Living Dead blocker. Rogue Rash was knocked to the outside, so that's going to force her to make sure she comes in behind anybody ahead of her. And she's going to be able to do it and get past. So that's going to grab her 5 more points when she calls that one off.
5 additional points to the Jane Deere score, now sitting at 107. Living Dead holding at 73 at the end of jam 17. Just over 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Masquerade and Stella R. Sniper taking the jam line. Once again, returning for both teams. Penalty box empty once again.
We've seen bodies in that penalty box as much today as we've seen it empty, so it's definitely been a little penalty-heavy day, and we do have some calamity here. We do have 1 penalty now being issued, so it wasn't empty long as 4-1. Magic Wanda is going to have to go sit down for the Living Dead.
Nice defensive moves by Rolling Black out there to keep drawing the jammer back into the starting zone.
Masquerade was able to get through, but she ran headlong right into Lurch, who stopped her dead in her tracks. But she was able to rebound very well as she came around and grabs those 5 points. And just like that, I'm looking at 1 penalty. I look over, we got 2 of them going to the box now. Both the Jane Deere and the Living Dead are going to lose some. And Lurch, once again, set right up against Masquerade, not letting her get through. And it looks like just before the whistles blew,
an additional 5 points for the Jane Deere, 10 in that jam, 117 their current score. 1 minute 40 remaining. Some penalty casualty in the last jam. It looks like it'll be a 3-on-2 pack advantage for Living Dead coming to this next jam. Before we get there, we have a challenge coming from the Jane Deere. Official review.
While we're doing that, we might as well thank a couple of our sponsors. They're, the lovely people that allow us to do what it is we are doing. We have Origami Owl Custom Jewelry here today. They're helping you tell your story through jewelry. You can check them out with the vendors there, as well as Creative Vitality, helping you create a deeper understanding of your own unique body system. And don't forget about Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby, promoting safety, cooperation, and wholesome fun and entertainment for the whole family. Great place to put your youngins, and if we want Derby to keep going, we're going to have to keep bringing some up. So this is a great way to introduce them to the sport at a good young age and get them hopefully a lifelong passion. And also, did you know, as we speak about some of the younger youth, that by the age of 14, girls are dropping out of sports at twice the rate of boys? Girls on Track wants to change that stat. You can learn more about how expanding access to roller derby for girls in their teens at girlsontrackfoundation.org.
think Roy added some.
Our officials taking their time, making sure that they get the call right.
Some of the official review, they were looking for a scoring pass missed in the previous jam. The score was reviewed, and the point stand official review not retained.
So it looks like they were looking for a scoring pass review, and as it stands, the points are going to stay the way they are, so they were not able to retain that official review. It looks like the Living Dead were able to grab one there as Charlie Horse donned that jammer star. She must have been a little happy. She did a little bit of a dance mover coming around that third corner after she had got the jam called off. We're down to the last 45 seconds of the game. We're going to have, of the first half, sorry. We're going to have Iva Whip going up against Little Swift.
Off the start line, both jammers in a frantic push towards the pivot line here. Low block will send Lil Swift to the penalty box, giving the power jam opportunity to Iva Whip. Has to make it cleanly through Stewart. There we go. Power jam in what will likely be the last jam of this first half.
The Jane Deere have lost one of their blockers now, so Iva Whip's going to be a little bit short-handed trying to get through that pack now. Lurch once again throwing that body around, showing what she's made of. Iva Whip trying to get a little bit of help there from Luscious Lynn as she's able to grab 5 more points coming around into that fourth corner. Lurch lays out one of the Jane Deere blockers as they try and do some offense as Spitney as well as her teammates do the rest of the work, but Iva Whip is still able to get back through. Little Swift back on the track now, working their way through, trying to grab some points. Iva Whip is going to get knocked back and forced to drag back in. Spitney followed her around there. Iva Whip's going to use that outside line when she gets pushed out, but she calls that jam as she sees Little Swift coming around. So that's going to give a 12-point jam pickup for the Jane Deers. That's going to bring their score at the half 129 to the Living Dead's 77.
Nice first half here by the Jane Deere and the Living Dead. We'll be back in just under 10 minutes for the second half of this game. Thanks so much. Come on back.
And here we go, a little less than 30 seconds left before we're going to start this second half at our 7th annual Flat Track Fever, hosted by the Chinook City Roller Derby, Calgary's only co-ed roller derby league. Check them out online at chinookscity.ca. We're starting this one. Jane Deers have the lead at 129 points, the Living Dead at 77. Judging by the way the lines look, it's going to be Chris My Ass lined up here going up against Lemon.
Watching Lemon as a junior. She was like a level 3 junior. She's fierce. Yeah. A lot of Australians are good for though too.
It does look like we're going to start the second half with the Jane Deere's short one blocker. Of course, if you're looking to get onto some roller skates, Nerd Roller Skates and Rydell Skates both happen to be sponsoring. Rydell Flat Track Fever brought to you in part by the acclaimed Rydell Solaris. The performance you demand, the comfort you've been missing. And Nerd Roller Skates, of course, open 6 days a week in Calgary and online at nerdskates.com for people who roll. Looks like we've got a little bit of track cleanup happening. And of course, if you're going to stick around till we're done on Sunday, we're going over to the King's Head Pub for the after party. So make sure you stick around. Come on, check that out. It's going to be a fantastic time. And with that, the track should be clean enough by the sounds of it. The 5 seconds has gone. The whistle is blown. We're starting our second half of this game. Chris Myaz is going to do a fancy move around Lurch there. That's going to start her as the first lead jammer in this second half. Lemon, of course, is not going to be far behind as she's shown what she's got for speed today. Jane Deers, number 624. Masquerade's going to take lead jam on this one. Masquerade's going to work to the inside of that track line. She's going to keep pushing and pushing on a few of those Living Dead blockers. Going to get held up there quite well by Rocky Baboa. Jane Deere trying to get the no pack call, and they did, so that's going to allow a quick breakthrough 5 points grabbed. Getting knocked to the ground there, that's going to make Masquerade try and reset. Looks like that might have drawn a penalty, though, as the Living Dead lose one of their blockers. Living Dead's jammer, I believe that's Stella, our sniper, is back on the track now. Stella able to get through for the initial pass. However, 5 points still scored by Masquerade. And Masquerade's going to time that one to call it off just before Stella can get in there and grab any more points.
.15 jam for the Jane Deers, bringing their score now to 145. 2 jams into the second half here, 27 minutes remaining. Living Dead holding at 77 after the second jam.
Rowgrass now with Little Swift. I think these two are going to go see what they can rack up for points. Looks like we're a little short again as that penalty box is looking fuller. Little Swift trying to bust through there. Rogrash working on the outside, getting rolled around. And Rogrash is going to be able to grit through first. Jigsaw is going to be lining up there to try and stop him, along with Chris Mayas. Looks like we do have a star pass, as that's 94 Lemon now wearing the star. Jane Deere is able to go through, grab 4 more before that one is called off.
Nice defensive move there by the Jane Deere, deciding to call it off before Lemon could pick up any points. 149 the current score for Jane Deere. 3 jams in, 25 minutes 44 remaining on the clock in this second half.
Iva Whip now going to go up against Charlie Horse. And looks like we have officials timeout. Looks like we might have a little bit of confusion in the penalty box now, as Hang 11 and some of the other refs have headed over there to try and sort it out. A really good time as well to thank, our NSOs and our Boo Boo Brigade and our Team Zebras for all the work they do today. Really hard to have a functioning sport when you don't have referees and paramedics and all the other officials needed to make sure it is well played. Charlie Horse is going to take a little bit of a running start here as Iva Whip starts right on that jam line. And Iva Whip's going to be able to use a clean, open line on that inside track to get through for the lead. Charlie Horse is having trouble. She's bouncing around between those Jane Deere blockers, but she's going to get through just before that second corner. Jane Deeres are going to be able to get through, grab 4 points quick, and call it off before the Living Dead have a chance to grab any of their own.
Team timeout has been called by the Living Dead. Just a heads up, folks, if you're interested in coming out to the after party, it is tomorrow, Sunday, at the King's Head is the official after party for Flat Track Fever 2018, just a half block away, not that far. You want to come hang out with us at the King's Head for the after party tomorrow, following the last game here at Flat Track Fever. While you're out and about, if you're wandering by Vendors Village, make sure you say hi to Origami Owl Custom Jewelry, helping you tell your story through jewelry. Also want to say hi to Creative Vitality, helping you create a deeper understanding of your own unique body system. And last but not least, Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby, promoting safety, cooperation, and wholesome fun and entertainment for the whole family. That's the Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby, sometimes referred to as SAJRD.
As the players take the track, Little Swift is going to go one-on-one now with Masquerade for the Jammers. And, of course, we are starting short again as that penalty box is looking full. Both teams only fielding 2 blockers. And now we're down to 1 blocker for the Jane Deeres as they lose another one to the penalty box. Little Swift is able to get through and grab that lead jammer. And it looks like we have a back block penalty being issued to Masquerade, who's going to have to go sit down. That'll give Living Dead the power jam, but not going to make it easy as Chris Mayas chases down Little Swift, slows her down a little bit, but she's still able to grab the outside and pick up those 5 points. Along with Chris Mayas lining up there, you have Punchkin. As well now getting some help by Lush Luther.
Lead jam this time to Carly Horse. Living Dead leading the charge here. Masquerade looking for an opportunity on the far side of the track.
We just about saw why those front row seats are 18 only as Masquerade went sliding out of the outside in that second corner. Charlie Horse issued a penalty, so that's going to now send her to the penalty box. That's going to give Masquerade the opportunity now to try and grab some. However, we've got just a few more heading to the penalty box now. It looks like it's full, maybe. Lots of bodies headed over that way. Both jammers back on the track now as Masquerade's going to get through, grabs another 4 points. Going to lose one more blocker though, and we do have a star pass now as that's Lemon wearing that star now. Masquerade goes up against those two black blockers. You got Charlie Horse as well with Magic Wanda out there. Looks like they've got a few more now as Attica Flinch has joined the pack again. But it looks like that Lemon now is going to have to go sit down in the penalty box. Little bit of penalty commotion here as it's been a penalty-laden game. As they're trying to figure out who's going where, how many on the track, it looks like we're going to have Chris Maya starting. Jane Deere go running the opposite way to try and get that no pack situation called. It works as Chris Mayas is able to get through for that lead jam.
Nice use of that run back strategy by the CRDA Jane Deere.
Looks like the Living Dead are going to lose number 82, Rocky Beboa, to the penalty box. Chris Mayas doing a little bit of deking moves is able to get through there, grabs 5 points. Living Dead have their jammer back on the track now, so Lemon's going to try and chase her down. Coming in fast to the second corner, she starts tapping those hips, trying to get a couple points. Both of them able to grab 2 before that fourth whistle is blown.
7 jams down in the second half of this game. Living Dead now crossing the 3-digit mark at 103. 19 minutes 45 remaining. Jane Deere 176 after the previous jam.
Wednesday Adams jamming for the Jane Deere, and the Living Dead are going to have Stella, our sniper, lined up. Stella going to end up going right into the back of Rolling Blackout. As Wednesday Adam gets a little bit of help there by number 15, Jigsaw. But while that's happening, Stella was able to get through there and grab that lead jammer. Stella's following that inside line. Looks like most of the commotion goes to the outside, so that's going to give her a quick 5 points. But now able to get that initial pass completed for the Jane Deere, Wednesday Adam. Stella gets hammered right into that tripod there of number 15 Jigsaw, number 2 Punchkin, along with number 6-9 Lush Luther. And of course we've got a couple bodies in the penalty box, so looks like the Jane Deeres are going to start 2 down. Make it a little bit more difficult for Rogue Rash now. She's not going to have as much offensive opportunities, being down to only 2 blockers. Living Dead are going to start this one full, so that's going to give Little Swift the opportunity to try and break through quickly, as it does. And Jane Deere are going to lose another blocker So that's going to leave the Jane Deere now with only one blocker on the track. Little Swift is able to do a deke move pass, number 99 Brass Monkey, to grab those 4 points and call that one off. Calling it off early like that, that's going to allow the Living Dead to try and start with, again, another short-staffed track for the Jane Deere. Jane Deere's now 176, Living Dead gone up for 114, 17 and a half minutes left. Iva Whip now and Stella R. Sniper. Iva Whip right off the get-go is going to get stuck up against Attica Flinch, but she's able to adjust and roll around for that lead jam. Stella is going to get knocked out and dragged back. And it looks like we've got a star pass now, so that's going to be number 82, Rocky Balboa, now jamming for the Living Dead, as the Jane Deere's jammer was able to grab 5 points on that first pass. Ten jams down, 181 for the Jane Deere's, 114 for the Living Dead.
Taking the jam line for this next jam, Masquerade, taking on number 96, Lil Swift in black. Penalty box empty once again, a full 5-on-5 as we get started in jam 11. Sweeping from the inside, both jammers looking to break apart that pack. Masquerade coming out first, lead jam, Jane Deere.
Little Swift going to chase her down, though, as they were able to get out of the pack just after that first turn. Masquerade's going to get stuck up at the front there as she calls that off, trying to get a couple points.
2 will be the result for Jane Deere at the end of jam 11, putting them at 183 now. 15 minutes and 30 remaining in this game. Wednesday Adams taking the jam line up against Stella R. Sniper. Casualty from the previous jam, Nightmare will start this one in the penalty box, a 4-on-3 pack advantage for the Living Dead.
Wednesday Adams right away is going to get stuck up against Wonky Long, along with her teammates Charlie Horse and 82 Rocky Balboa. Jane Deere are going to lose their pivot now to a penalty. Lots of whistles getting blown and the jam's still going, so that means there should be a couple penalties, and there's 2 of them, one from each team headed towards the box. Stella, our sniper, was able to grab that lead jam. Stella makes a quick pass through, grabs those 4 points. Making a quick pass as well, 4 points picked up for Wednesday Adams. And another quick 4 for Stella Sniper. As Wednesday Adams tried to grab a couple more, she was able to get 3 more before the 4th whistle. Jane Deere's grabbed 7 on that one, 190 now. Living Dead grab 8, 122. Just a little under 14 minutes left after that 12th jam of the second half.
Team timeout has been called by the Jane Deere. Clock is stopped at 13 minutes 46. Flat Track Fever would like to send a shout out to Peterson Contracting for sponsoring our beer garden this weekend, and the beer garden is open, I understand. Peterson Contracting is a multi-trade company. See us for all your electrical, plumbing, gas, and HVAC needs. Check us out on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Peterson Contracting. That's Peterson with 3 E's. Nope, sorry. 2 E's and an O. Peterson. Also want to thank Nerd Roller Skates. They're right here on the floor, one of our vendors as well. You're a specialist for all things roller skate and roller derby. Skate fittings, wheels, hardware, protective gear, and more. Open 6 days a week in Calgary and online at nerdskates.com. For people who roll. Leading the charge is Lil Swift for Living Dead, lead jam. The opponent, Rogue Rash, out there as well, looking for the initial pass. Taking a bit of a hit to the outside. And a successful star pass to Mamer, now donning the star for CRDA.
Little Swift was kind of swallowed into the center of that pack there. She falls to the ground with one of the Jane Deere. She's going to call that one off after grabbing another 4 points. Jane Deere is able to grab one before that whistle went off. Jane Deere is trying to get their lines sorted out here as Chris My Ass now takes it. Gonna jam this one. Stella R. Sniper tries a fancy spin move, but she's spun out of bounds as Chris My Ass is gonna take lead jam real fast on an inside line. Chris My Ass now gonna try and follow the outside. She's gonna grab a quick 5 points. Stella R. Sniper's able to complete their initial pass. Now it's going to be a foot race. Pack grabs a little bit of speed here. As the Jane Deere start some offensive maneuvers, Chris My Ass with an apex jump. As she ended up going down and falling small, trying to call that one off. Chris My Ass on that one able to grab 7, Stella R. Sniper grabbing 4. 11 and a half minutes, 198 for the Jane Deeres, 135 for the Living Dead. I have a whip lined up now for the Jane Deeres. Going up against Charlie Horse. Charlie Horse taking a little bit of a running start on this one as Iva started right at that jammer line. Penalty called to the Jane Deeres as they try and lose one of their blockers. It does look like Charlie Horse is going to be able to get through that pack first. And it looks like we've had a star pass now as the pivot for the Jane Deeres is now going to be carrying that. That is 9-9 Brass Monkey. But Charlie Horse was able to grab those points she was looking for and then called that one off before Brass Monkey was able to grab any of their own. That's going to give Living Dead 4-point pickup with just a little less than 10 and a half minutes left in this game. Lining up now, you're going to get Masquerade going up against looks like Masquerade's going to get through first. While the Living Dead Jammer is fighting to try and get through here. Looks like a little bit of a spin around. And Living Dead have lost number 61 spinning into the penalty box as Masquerade is able to grab 5 points on that pass. Now we did have a star pass. Lemon now is going to be wearing that star, as both teams have lost a skater to that penalty box. Masquerade works on that outside line, follows it to the inside, finds a path to grab a few more points, while Living Dead's able to grab 2 more before that one went. And Jane Deers are being awarded 5 before the whistle went, so that's going to give them 10-point pickup. 208 now. Living Dead grabbed 2 on that one, 141. We have a timeout being called. Living Dead going to get charged with that one. We have 8 minutes, 57 seconds left at the time of that call. And of course, again, we want to thank some of our sponsors, our vendors, all the lovely people here today giving us a hand, helping us make sure that we can put on our 7th annual Flat Track Fever. Buffalo Wild Wings are your all-ages sports bar, 1 block west and 1 block south on McLeod Trail. If you mention Team D to help support the Junior Roller Derby, as well as Nerd Roller Skates, your specialist for all things roller skate and roller derby, skate fittings, wheels, hardware, and protective gear, and more. I always love more. It just leaves it open to so much. Open 6 days a week in Calgary and online at nerdskates.com for people who roll, like Stella, our sniper, who's about to roll off that jam line as we get started on that 17th jam of the second half. Not going to make it any easier, though, as Wednesday Adams is jamming for the Jane Deers.
Lead not yet established here in Jam 17. Already 15 minutes in. Lead now being handed to Wednesday Adams. Took a bit of a trip there in between turns 1 and 2. Both jammers now free of the pack. Pack comes into the stretch, separates a little bit.
That was Baby Slice that caused, I think, a little bit of that trouble there for the Living Dead's jammer. Taking a little bit of direction from the bench as the coaches are telling her to call it off. That's what she does. The whistles blow. Jane Deere is able to pick up 2 on that one. Grash and Charlie Horse are going to take this one, as the 2 of them give a little high five to each other as they start this 18th jam now. Grash rolls to the outside, finds a little bit of a hole to the inside. No pack is called. She is released. That'll give her that lead jammer. Although the Jane Deers are going to lose a pivot. Both jammers have now completed at least their initial pass, as a little bit of fancy toe stop work on that outside line is going to give a 4-point pickup now to the Jane Deers. Masquerade and Little Swift now are going to take this one. Little Swift is kind of rolling around the hips there of number 2 Punchkin. Gets stopped by the rest of that line, though, including Jigsaw and Mamer. As the Jane Deere's jammer was able to get through first, she kind of fell down, but they still gave the lead to her. Looks like we did have a star pass. We've got Rocky Balboa now wearing that star for the Living Dead. That pack picking up the speed. Lots and lots of speed. We do have a penalty by the looks of it issued to the jammer high block. So that's going to give Rocky Balboa now the opportunity for a power jam. She's already grabbed 5 points. Trying to use those toe stops as she's getting knocked out by Mamie on that inside edge. Now she's getting worked around by Punchkin. it looks like we now have a penalty issued to the jammer for the Living Dead. So that's going to give Masquerade now the chance to run a power jam.
Pack pulling into turn one now. Jane Deere holding the inside line. Mamer looking to do a cross block, allowing room for Masquerade. Now on the inside of turn two, and 5 points, Jane Deere.
Pack keeping the speed up as they come into that third corner. Trying to keep the distance as far as they can from the jammers as they now set up for. And the whistles blow just as Masquerade gets there. Looks like that one's going to score up 9 even for each team. So the Jane Deers are going to now go to a 223-point score. Living Dead 150 with 4.5 minutes remaining in the second half after completing 19 jams. Iva Whip is going to start for the Jane Deere on this 20th jam, going alongside Stella R. Sniper for the Living Dead. Stella works around the hips of number 09, Baby Slice. Stella working, trying to get through there, but gets stuck. We did have a star pass, so now it's Chris My Ass wearing the star as she was dragged from the pack out to the back past the jammer line. However, Chris is still able to get through there and get that initial pass completed. Stella able to grab 5 points. Getting down to the end here, we're just over 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Jane Deere's 223, Living Dead 155. Little Swift is going to line this one up, going up against Wednesday Adams. Little Swift getting bounced around there by 1-8. 1-5, sorry, Jigsaw. Jane Deere losing one of their blockers to the penalty box. As Wednesday Adams tries to step ahead, but she's getting held up. A little bit of a hit there, jammer on jammer action as Little Swift came in there. No pack is called. Looks like there might be a little bit of confusion as the Jane Deere's Wednesday Adam is able to get through. Little Swift takes a big hit by Lush Luther, but is able to remain inbound, so that's going to grab the 4 points. As the penalty box slowly empties, the Jane Deere is starting to get more people back on the track. Little Swift with a bit of a hip spin there. While I was looking over there, the Jane Deere were able to grab 4 more points.
21 jams, really quick jams here, already complete in the second half. 8-point jam for Living Dead, and they're trying to narrow that gap here as we approach to the end of the game. Jane Deere at 227, Living Dead at 163.
A little under a minute and a half now. Rogue Rash going up against Stella R. Sniper. We've got a black block penalty being issued to Stella R. Sniper, so that's going to give now the Jane Deere's jammer, Rogue Rash, the opportunity for a power jam. Rogue Rash getting a little tripped up there into the corner. Living Dead losing one of their blockers. Rogue Rash now just over the second corner, able to get through and get that lead jam. A little bit of showboating as she makes that corner 4. Jane Deere's go in with some offense, open up a wide open inside line. Rogue Rash is able to grab those 5 points. Back on the track now. Stella, our sniper, getting pushed around. She's going to get knocked out to the outside. Jigsaw tries to drag her back for the cut track. Rogrash now stuck up against that black wall. Everybody's now scrummed together right before that first corner. Penalty box is empty. Everybody's on the track. But it sounds like there was a whistle blown, so it sounds like someone's going to go right back to that penalty box. As everyone is still scrummed together, back starting to spread out a little bit. Stella's working on that inside line, trying to get through, but Rogue Rash is going to get through, grabs 4 more. With that, the whistle is going to go. And it looks like we have run out of time on the period clock as of right now.
Unofficial score at the end of 2 30-minute halves. Jane Deere's 236, Living Dead 163. We'll wait for the official nod here before we call it game. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that the Jane Deere take this one. Coming up here on the track, we have a junior roller derby game. RROLZ versus Greater Edmonton Junior Roller Derby Association. So you want to stick around for that if you've not been exposed to junior roller derby thus far. If you want to come on to the track, say hi to the skaters, give them a high five for a job well done. Please make your way out to do that. And we'll be back for the next game at 2 o'clock. So I'll give you some time to hit the snack table and etc. And we'll see you in a little bit.
And we do now have the official score final. Jane Deere's 236, Living Dead 163. Thank you very much for coming out and watching this game. As Stay Puft said, the next one coming up at 2 o'clock. It has been a pleasure calling for you. I have been Fat Boy, and we will talk to you just a little while later.